Hi everyone, it's Rebecca with Holly Rustic, and I'm here today to do one of our string art and paint boards with the compass that says "Not all who wander are lost." There's a couple things that you're going to want to get done before watching the whole tutorial. First, you want to paint your board. So in your kit, you get a board that's completely unfinished. You want to paint it whatever color you want. We use acrylic paint. Any brand will work, but you do want to give it some time to dry. So usually a couple hours to be safe. As far as when you put your stencil down, it'll work best the drier it is. Another thing that you want to do is go ahead and nail your board after you're done painting it and it's dry. I always do that before starting the tutorials because I don't think everybody wants to listen to me hammer my nails. So you have a pattern, a string art pattern that we make, and what you want to do is take your stencil that looks like this. You're going to take your stencil and kind of, you want to make sure it all fits on the board the way you want it. So without actually attaching it, just lay it down, then lay your string art stencil down and tape it. And you want a couple pieces of the tape just to hold it still while you nail. Everywhere there's a hole, you're going to put a nail and you're going to hammer it about halfway into the board. So basically just try to get all the nails into the holes to begin with, and then when you're done you can go back and kind of straighten them up and make sure they're all even. Okay, so they don't have to be perfect, but you do want them to be just about the same height in the board. After you get that done, then you're going to pull your pattern off the board. You can rip it, sometimes I do, or you can lift it and maybe use it again. All right, and now we're ready to get started. All right, so if you've never used a vinyl stencil before, you have 3 layers. Well, you need 3 layers. The back is just a white sheet of paper that's going to end up being garbage. The middle is your actual stencil and maybe white or black. And then on top you should have a piece of transfer tape or contact paper works for this. Okay, so 3 layers. What you want to do, what I always do, is flip this stencil upside down, find that back piece of paper, look like this, and you're going to start rolling it off of your stencil very slowly so you don't rip any of the letters. And you want to make sure all your little pieces stay down on the tape or the contact paper. So see right here, when I lifted this backing, the middle of that letter is still on the white piece of paper. I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to push it back down, make sure it sticks to the tape, and then roll it back again. So that's the main thing you got to watch for when you're using your vinyl stencil, is that none of your center pieces, there's another one, none of your center pieces come up with that white backing. So I'm going to continue to roll. And you shouldn't have any pieces stuck to that white piece of paper that you're pulling off. Okay, so by the time you're done, your whole vinyl stencil should be stuck to that top layer. Then what you're going to do is flip it over, and you don't want to push it down until you're sure you have it where you want it. So you're going to kind of center it. You can use a ruler or something if you want to measure your sides. I usually just eyeball it. You don't, it's up to you. Okay, once you get it where you want it, then you're going to push it down really good. Okay, sometimes I use like a credit card or something to kind of smooth it out and make sure all those little pieces are going to stick to the wood. Now the drier your board is, the better it's going to stick. Once you get it down, you're going to take that top layer and you're going to start rolling it off away from the stencil, and you want to make sure all your little pieces, the inside of your letters, stay down on the wood. And once you stick it on there, it is not easy to get off, so just make sure you have it where you want it before moving on. Okay, so what we're going to do when you're using vinyl stencils, you want to make sure that you don't get a lot of bleeding. So whatever color you painted the baseboard, you're going to take that same color. So I used an ivory. You're going to take that same color and you're going to paint, a little loopy. You're going to paint over the letters. So you can use a plate or a paint tray. I'm just going to squirt it right onto my vinyl here. If I can get it out, it seems to be clogged up for some reason. Take a nail. All right, that should do it. So I'm just going to kind of put it all over here. All right, and then I'm going to brush it over the letters, not off the board. You want to stay on the vinyl and just brush it on the actual letters of your design. I should have put an apron on. I'm a messy painter usually, but I have to be careful today. You just want to do a thin layer. You don't want a lot of paint. I usually kind of go up and down and then side to side just to make sure you get all those edges. And basically what this does is it ensures that the color that bleeds under the stencil is the same color as the board. And it helps you get those crisp lines when you're done. Okay, so we want that to dry really good before we go back over it with our actual color. Okay. So while that's drying, I'm going to flip this around and work on the string art, and hopefully this isn't too difficult with on video. Hopefully you can see. This isn't our normal video setup. We are doing some converting, so it will be a lot better soon. All right, so I have chosen a coral color to go with my ivory board, so I'm going to do all my colors in coral. Now this particular design is a pretty easy design to string, but it is a lot of tying and cutting because all of the letters on the compass are separate. So we're going to start in the very center of the design. So locate that very center nail right in the middle. And what you're going to do is take your string and you're going to tie a double knot. So tie it once and then tie it again right there on that middle string. Once you get it tied, you're going to take some super glue and put just a little bit of super glue right there on the knot. And that ensures that your string doesn't come unraveled in the middle of your stringing. So that just a little bit, you don't want to squirt it all over your board, you just want to touch the end of that super glue to the knot. Let it dry a second and then cut off that tail, that extra piece of string. That's garbage. Alright, so what we're going to do, and when you're doing string art, you want to make sure that you're kind of holding your string pretty tight so you don't get any slack in your string and it doesn't pop off your nails. And if you've never done this before, it can take some getting used to. But we're going to go straight out either side, it doesn't matter, but basically you're going to go out 2 nails and wrap it like this. Okay, so from that middle nail I went out 2 nails and just wrapped that string right around it. Okay, so I'm going back to my middle nail and I'm going to go to the next nail, and there's only one that you need to wrap around, and I'm going to wrap from there to that middle part again. So we're going to rotate every other one. There's going to be 2 nails to wrap around and then 1 nail to wrap around. So I'm going to go out to the next one. From the middle nail you're going to wrap 2 nails out. The next pattern is just 1 nail, so just wrap it around like that. Okay, the next one's going to be 2 nails again. Then 1 nail. So you're just kind of shifting as you go, and you may need to push the string on that middle nail down so that you have room for your other ones. And this one isn't touching, so I'm just going to push that nail over a little bit to make sure that it's straight and aligned. Okay, next one is 1. We're just rotating that all the way around. So 2 nails out, one nail out. I'm gonna push the string in the middle down. Whoops, that's gonna be 2. 1. And you're gonna just go all the way around until you get back where you started. Okay, so what we want to do now is the circle here. So on one of these center nails, so you see here we have a circle pattern. We want to go around that circle. So every other nail, what we're going to do, let me go the other direction so you can see better. So we're going to take it and we're going to wrap the string around those 2 nails. And you can leave it like that if you want, or after you wrap it, you can do a crisscross or a figure 8 in the center, and that just makes it a little bolder. So after I do my figure 8, what I'm going to do is take my string and wrap it around the outside of that nail, and then go down and grab the next one. So every 2 nails, we're wrapping the string around it, and then I'm going to do a crisscross, and you don't have to. You can just loop it around if you want. It's just an option. After I crisscross, I'm going to take it down to that next nail, wrap it around 2, and do a crisscross or a figure 8 in between. So you're staying on the outside of your nails when you're looping it. So just like this, every 2 nails, loop, figure 8, loop, figure 8, loop, figure 8, loop, figure 8. So that just gives it kind of a darker border, stands out a little more. In fact, if you want to do the loop figure 8 on these, on your first pass, you can. So every 2 nails you would loop and then crisscross. That's up to you if you want to do them on all of these parts too. So once you get back where you started in the circle, you're going to do a double knot on the nail, whatever nail you end on. I take it and loop the string like this, and then twist it and lay it over the nail and pull it, and that knots it. You can do it however you want. You just want to make sure you get that double knot right there. Okay, just like when we started, you're going to put a little bit of super glue right there on the knot, and then you'll cut that string off. Okay, and center's done. Now we're going to work on the letters, and for each letter we're going to have to tie on, string it, super glue, and cut it. Okay, so on your actual pattern, I try to draw the letters because it is kind of hard to see when it's just a bunch of holes. So use that original pattern if you had it to help you see how the letters are going to go. So I know I have this upside down, but I think I can string it upside down so you can see it the right way. I'm going to start with the N, and we're going to be using that same method, the loop and crisscross, to do the letters. So I'm going to tie on to one of the nails on my N, do a double knot, a little bit of glue, cut that tail, and then I'm going to loop it around those 2 nails, so up and down just where the N is, and then crisscross or figure 8. Okay, and now from here you want to follow the shape of the N. So the next 2 nails are going to be diagonal here. I'm going to wrap the string. Oops, that's what happens when you don't keep it tight. Pops right off. Do a figure 8. Okay, and then from the bottom you're going to come up. Okay, might be backwards to you, but alright, then I'm going to loop that string over the nail with a double knot, a little bit of glue, and then cut it. So once you get the hang of it, this one goes pretty fast. It's not like some of the more complicated designs that have a whole lot of string in them. All right, I'll go to the E next. So I'm just gonna, this process is the same all the way around. So I'm gonna tie on to the top outer nail of the E. And I'm gonna throw my super glue. Alright, so you just want to follow the shape of the E, loop 2 nails, crisscross, and then from here you're going to go down. And then once you're on that middle nail, you're going to go over to get that center part of the E, back down, and then from the bottom nail I'm going to go over. That's it, super quick. Okay, so you want to tie, whoops. I grabbed the wrong nail there. Okay. Tie, glue, and cut. I'm going to come over and do the W next because the S is a little bit, it's probably the hardest of the letters. I do a double knot onto the top corner of my W. Top down, loop. Then we go up to get the middle, over. You just want to make sure it looks like a letter when you're done. If you go the wrong order, wrong direction, it is not going to look like a W. If you do mess up, just back up a little bit, just pull the string off the nails and try again. We'll see if I can do this S upside down. I don't know if I can or not. I think I'm going to add another nail right here. We changed up the pattern just a little bit. I think the old pattern doesn't have a nail right here. Just need a few extra nails to get that rounded S shape. So I'm going to tie on to the outer part of the S, or one of the end nails. That's the easiest way to do it. You want to always try to grab one on the end so you don't have to backtrack. This is where the pencil lines on your original design might help you follow the nail design. All right. Okay, there we go. That's probably one of the quickest string art designs that we do. Our compass is done, all our letters are done. I know you're seeing it in reverse, sorry about that. But now we need to go back down to our paint. So I'm going to flip this back around so I can see it right side up. But you should have a little strip of sandpaper. After we paint over the letters, it helps us not get a bunch of bleeding under the vinyl, but sometimes it can cause the paint on top to stick when you pull up the vinyl. So what we're going to do is take the sandpaper and just lightly sand this top, and that'll just kind of break the seal that's right on top of the vinyl. so that our letters aren't pulled up. We've done this a lot of different ways, and this seems to work the best. So, okay, and then you just want to get all that excess off. Make sure it's smooth, and we can start painting. So I'm just gonna paint the whole thing with my coral paint. You do whatever you want. If you want multiple colors, you can do that. You may end up needing a couple layers depending on, or a couple coats depending on what kind of paint you're using and what color it is. So I'm just gonna paint right over that design. It doesn't look like I'll end up needing a second coat with this color. Just want to make sure all the middles of the letters are filled in. Just a little more paint. Alright, so I have a thin layer. If you're going to do a second coat, you want to let it dry almost completely, and then you can do that second layer of paint. If you want to hair dry it, you can just use it on the cool setting or keep the heat kind of far away from the vinyl. You don't want a lot of direct heat. It can cause you some problems. Okay, so once this is mostly dry, you're going to start peeling away your stencil. So you want to be kind of careful, and you want to pull slowly and kind of away from your design. So that helps reduce the peeling. Tear that part off. Work on the bottom. So now I'm going to pull down away. Alright, so you can see I still have the centers of my letters that need to be taken out. I have a what's called a weeder tool. You can use the end of an X-Acto knife if you want. And you're just gonna kind of slide underneath that vinyl piece and peel it up. Okay, now that all the little pieces are out, our board is done. If you need to do any touch up, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you're good to go. Thank you so much for purchasing one of our kits and crafting with me today. Make sure to share your finished product on the Craft Crew on Facebook. Thanks, y'all have a great day.